So we are here for the launch of the Swedish Climate Startup Map, initiative to showcase innovative startups working towards a more sustainable world. And I'm starting with you, Karin, from Sting, that is kind of founded this map. Tell us more about the background.
Yeah, I mean, Sting has been working in the climate tech space for many, many years. I mean, we started off calling it clean tech, then it was sustain tech, now it's climate tech. But then in 2020, we felt that like we needed to take it to another level. So we started an initiative that we called Startup Climate Action. And as part of that, we felt, I mean, there are so many incredibly exciting climate tech startups in Sweden, and they don't get the recognition that they deserve. And we had also, as part of that, started a challenge where we had defined 13 challenges. We were inspired by SDG 13, Climate Action. That's the name behind the Startup Climate Action. And we had defined 13 challenges. And then we kind of started identifying or finding what startups do we have in these 13 categories. And we came up with the first Startup Climate Action Map, the Swedish Startup Climate Action Map that was launched in December 2020. So that's how it all started. Then, a year or two later, Stina and I started talking about, we need to take this,
to the next level.
To the next level. We need to continue this. We need to continue showcasing the startups in Sweden in this space, and we need to take it to a national level. So that's where we are today, I think.
So guide us. What was the next step? How did we take it to the next level?
First of all, this is very much an ecosystem effort, and that's how we took it to the next step, so to say. But I represent Swedish Incubators and Science Parks. I'm the interim CEO, and we are 63 members working on a daily basis with startups and scale-ups all over Sweden. And through that network and through that ecosystem, we also realized that, wow, what if we really can gather all the great examples from all the corners of Sweden? Sweden is we're not many people, we're quite long country. So, and really create this showcase that this will be for these startups, because we really need to do it on a national level. Because I know that you are from Umeå, and you have fantastic startups also up north, as well as down south, as well as here, and that we are just now in the Stockholm area. So we really needed the national effort to create this.
So what do you see is the next step? What's the use of the map in the future?
I mean, right now, and it's been all the way, but it's really there, I think, mainly for the startups, so that they can find, they get showcased for investors, they get showcased for customers. I mean, that's the most important thing for any startup. How do you get your first paying customers? And here, really, you have a whole palette of super promising startups that I think all corporates, public sector, not only in Sweden, but across the world should, look at. And how can we collaborate? How can we take this to market, help these startups take those innovations to market? I think that's one part of it. Investors make it more easy to see, not only Swedish investors, also international investors, and also to attract talent. This is really, this is the future.
I agree.
This is where we will find a lot of the most, a lot of the growth going forward. It's in the green transition.
So we need to have the startups joining, and we need to have the system knowing about the map.
Yes.
What's need to be done there?
Well, first of all, I hope that everyone looking at this today will really spread the word about this map, that it exists now. But also, of course, if you are a startup not present on the map, you need to shout out to become a part of the map, of course, in the next batch, because this is not the end. This is really just the beginning of this landscape. But and also, I think this is a very important message to our politicians, both on a national but also on a regional level, that these are solutions. These are solutions that we already have. If we can boost these solutions, that will leapfrog us to solve many of the big challenges that we are facing today. So that is also a very important dimension to spread knowledge, also among our decision makers.
So in the future, we could actually use the map for so many purposes, and we can actually follow change as well. We have really exciting things going on. So let's dive deeper into what's behind the map soon. But a big thank you for starting to sting and to actually make it national. Any final words from you? What do you call to action to all the ones watching?
Dig into the landscape, to the map, and reach out to these startups. I mean, that's the what we hope to see. A lot of contacts happening.
And support the green transition happening by collaborating with these startups.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So there is a lot of hours put behind the Swedish Climate Startup Map. So I'm really interested to hear about behind the scenes, all the work, the criteria. Can you tell us more, Linda?
Yes, absolutely. So when we developed this project, we wanted to focus on climate startups, but we wanted to have a broad interpretation of the word climate. So therefore we set up 9 criteria that covers, of course, emissions of greenhouse gases, renewable energy, reduced material use, but we also included aspects as biodiversity, less toxins, and climate adaptation tools, just because to include also the companies working in those aspects of climate.
So, and the screening, how did you collect the startups and the screening of them?
Yes, well, so we had a database of a range of startups working with sustainability in some way. But it was a lot. And we, of course, had the sustainability criteria, but we also had some company-related criteria. Only startups from Sweden, founded in Sweden, with headquarters in Sweden, are accepted, and they should have at least 2 employees. And we used 3 students that are environmental engineering students with a master in sustainable business, who have helped us to go through the list and gather a lot of information about these companies, because we also wanted to have a great filtering option on the website. Therefore, we have also collected information for different categories that you can select from. For example, what main sector the startup is targeting, the sustainable development goal that they are achieving impact within. We looked at enabling technologies like AI, hardware, etc., and what type of companies, if there are business to business and those kinds of aspects. And we also wanted to filter on team size, turnover, geographic location within Sweden, and if they had an incubator. So the students and I have together collected all this data, and of course also viewed whether the solution is innovative and sustainable, because that's of course the most important aspects to come on this map. Yeah.
So now is the release of the map, but what's the next step? What's coming up next?
Well, so we hope that the website that has been developed will be very attractive and informative, and that, of course, more startups will apply and become a part of the map. We keep on doing this screening process for all the applying companies, and we also hope to attract, of course, investors and customers for our Swedish climate startups.
But if we continue with the customer part, collaborations, the use of the startups, maybe we can move on to you, Frida, with the connection to a large project, Omställningslyftet. Can you tell us more?
Yes, of course. So the Swedish Climate Startup Map is a part of Omställningslyftet that is co-funded by the European Regional Development Fund. And it's a project that is focused on business-driven green transition, because we know, and as we will show today as well, we have a lot of businesses that actually is a big part of making the green transition possible. And that's why we're launching this map, because that's also where we see the gap. We see that there's a lot of needs out there, but it's hard for the need owners to actually know all the solutions that are out there. So this is a way to fill the gap between the need owners and the people and the startups with the solutions.
So have you already seen any action going on, any successful matching collaborations that have been started?
Yeah, now we haven't launched the map. Now it's the launch,
Yeah,
but
I know.
I mean, we did a lot of matchings. I mean, Ignite Sweden does matchings all the time, and it's a core focus for Ignite Sweden right now to work more with the climate and the green transition.
And I can mention that after the pre-launch that we had in January with only energy-related startups, there was a massive inflow of both startups applying, but also investors contacting us. So it was a great communication during that part of the launch. That was nice to see.
So I think there is a lot of opportunities. So maybe we could invite Stina to discuss more about the future of the map and maybe to see, I mean, now it's time to, and we kind of holding the numbers for a few minutes. Stina, tell us more about what do you see the use, if we think even bigger, of the climate map?
Well, first of all, I think what Frida and Linda has said is really important. This is an opportunity to actually see the potential that we do have right now and here in Sweden. Also for the big audience watching this, it's not only the Swedish companies and decision makers in the audience today during Sweden Innovation Days. So I think this is a high potential for us, and to grasp that potential and actually build upon it, connect with the companies. That's the huge potential in this. And I'm really proud over the project and the work that Linda and Frida has done.
I think it's amazing. And what do you see in 5 years?
My hope or my demand, if I can say so, is actually that these companies will be our future export companies and our future success. This is the new generation of fantastic companies that Sweden must build the next generation successful companies upon. So that's my aim.
And I think it's amazing how many startups that are actually on the map. But should we release the number now? Yeah, I think so.
I think so.
I think so. So let's release the number by inviting some of the startups on the map. We have a 0 coming in. We have a 2. How many numbers do we have? So 420, 420. It's worth an applause. And we will talk more with you later on with the startup to hear more what you're doing and the purpose. Thank you so much for joining us, and congrats to 420 startups.
That's fantastic.
That's fantastic.
That's the future.
Okay, so we are here with maybe top 3 of our 420 startups on the Climate Startup Map. And let's start to hear more about what you are doing and why you are on the map. Liam, Cellfion, tell us more about the background of your company.
Yes, so Cellfion is a company that's been spun off from over 10 years of research at KTH's Royal Institute of Technology and Linköping University. And we started the company for just over a year and a half ago, once we began to see a large pull for a new ion selective membrane based on biomaterial. Now, an ion selective membrane isn't a component that's especially well known to people, but it's actually a very critical component that's used in fuel cells and other battery technologies that are at the forefront of the energy transition. And what we've developed is a material that's based 100% on forest material. So it's based on cellulose that we extract from wood, basically. And what we are doing is that we've developed the material that can replace fossil-based materials on the market today. So the current membranes are based on what's called a PFAS material. And this is something that the EU and other member states are actually looking to ban within the coming years. And this is going to have a major impact on the fuel cell industry, the hydrogen industry in general, because it's even used for green hydrogen production, and even for the battery technologies, and especially the emerging market of redox flow batteries.
So where are you now in your journey? You mentioned 1.5 years ago. So do you have collaborations ongoing? I can see that there is a huge potential.
Yes, so we have some collaborations ongoing now with some smaller companies, but even some larger companies now are coming into the picture as well, which is beginning to be really exciting. And we've now grown the company to a place where we're 7 employees, and we're even looking to expand further now to build up the internal capabilities to develop the technology further, because we've seen the need to have not just the material development, but you need to have the application knowledge in the company as well, so that we can cover more of the value chain and get quicker feedback loops done and feedback cycles on testing the material.
So you are now on the climate map. Tell us, why did you apply, and what can you see the use of being a startup at the map?
I think for being a startup coming onto like the climate map, it's great for publicity is the first thing. You know, you need to be seen as a startup, and it's not always that easy. So this is one of the ways that's great for us. And for us as a sort of startup company developing a new material from research, the time to market tends to be a little bit longer because you have so many development steps that needs to be done, so much validation. So we need to lock in potential partners that are long-term and potential investors that are long-term to help us come up to the market and to achieve a high-performing material.
So if you could wish the dream customer collaboration partner for you that could find you on the map, who would that be?
We're looking for the larger industry companies that are developing the fuel cell stacks, for example, or the redox flow battery stacks, and somebody who's maybe got a timeline that's looking more to the future, 2030, 2035. What do they see as being their application? Where do they see as being sort of the real need for this material and the specific application for them? So it could be the case that there's a lot of different applications for fuel cells, but maybe the one that's really going to make the difference is the fuel cell application to decarbonize aviation, which I know a lot of fuel cell manufacturers have a roadmap for up until 2035, where they look to bring out them type of fuel cells.
So then they just look up on the climate map, Liam on Cellfion, and you will take a meeting right away with them.
Absolutely.
Yes. Thank you so much for diving deeper into your solution.
Thank you.
Let's move on to Ulrika from GreenIron. Tell us more about GreenIron.
Well, GreenIron is a company that takes care of residuals from the steel industry, from the metal industry, mining industry, and is based on technology that was developed by our founder, Hans Murray, in the early 1970s. It's a fossil-free, emission-free process where we take residuals and waste and turn it into metal sponge. So it's oxides, different kind of metal oxides that we turn into metal sponge that can be turned back into a steel company, a foundry, different kind of industries. So these industries, they do have residuals.
Yeah.
And they can send them to us and get a really good material, high value material back to use in the process. So we are both emission-free, CO2-free, we save CO2 for the world, and we are also circular. So we are building these furnaces, modular. So instead of building one huge plant, we would like to actually have these furnaces close to where the residuals are coming, and not having to have a huge amount of transport. So modularity, scalability, and emission-free.
Interesting. And to be a part of the climate map, what use do you see? What's your goal of being a part of the map?
Well, I think it's important as a small company to use the leverage from all us together and to be looked upon together with all these, I mean, looking at the map, all these innovative companies growing, scaling up, to be part of that is extremely important for us.
And if you could wish something for the future, a call to action to the ones that are searching the map or looking at this session, what's your dream customer? What do you need in the future?
Well, I'm thinking about two things. Of course, customers that really take the climate and the green transition serious and also sees the value, monetary value of being circular. But I would also like to say that it's extremely important to speed up the permissions, the permits, the environmental permits to start production. It takes too long time in Sweden, and I think here we can do something together. We are not the only ones. There are several companies that need to start up their business and their production quick. Because it's urgent.
Yeah.
It's urgent. So that's something I would like to emphasize, a quicker process when it comes to permissions.
Urgent, it takes too long time. We don't have time, right?
We don't have time.
We don't have time
to wait.
No, exactly. Ingmar,
but
tell
we
us
do
more.
have the solutions.
Yeah, we have the solution.
What We Don't Have Time is all about is that we are the world's largest social media for climate solutions. So we connect all the entrepreneurs that have solutions, but also the largest companies that have the need, and everyone else that are interested in the green transition. And our mission is to, by connecting everyone that are working on solution, to speed up change and show the leadership that we need in the world. So today we have offices on 3 continents, here in Stockholm and Washington DC and Nairobi on the African continent. We want to go even further. And we have users in over 160 countries, and we reach every month about 190 million on social media. So when we see a solution, like those 2 amazing solutions, they can't just stay on the Swedish map. They need to be on the world map. And that's our mission, to get more people to know about this, and by that, speed up change.
So we have a really nice connection here,
exactly.
I see, and to speed up the time. But what could you say, what's the call to action if you could wish for being a part of this map specifically?
I think this initiative is great. I mean, here I met so many amazing solution providers. So for us, it's natural to be part of the map, but it's also a hunting ground to recruit and connect the climate map with the We Don't Have Time international map and grow by that. We have 300 partners. You have 420 partners. That will almost become 1,000 partners. And Sweden is also very great place to be, because here is a lot of things going on. I would actually say that Sweden can become the next Silicon Valley for the green transition, but we need the leaders to step up in order for us to actually thrive.
So if you could see any more action that we could take by using the map, or any call to action to the ones listening here, what would that be?
It's great to be on the map, but in order to really influence, everyone on the map needs to communicate.
Yeah.
And that's why initiative like the map is very important. And what I think you can do is to encourage and help all those 420 startups to communicate. And I know you have some ideas there to do exactly like that.
Yeah, I think so too. We need to really have your stories, what's behind, and how can we actually make it happen. Collaborations, of course.
Absolutely. I mean, the transition is all about collaboration. We can compete, but we can also collaborate, and the only way of winning the race to zero is by collaboration.
Any more things you need to address before we wrap up this session that we didn't talk about? What do you see? I mean, maybe you are top 3 of 2,000 startups, hopefully in a year or so. Is it anything more the system can do, anything more Sweden can do to help you to grow to the next level?
I think what we've seen is that we need more companies to take chances and to dare a little bit more.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of technologies that are fantastic. I know from working quite near research for the last few years, I've seen a lot of fantastic technologies that should have been commercialized, but they never were. And that's because maybe the development curves are too long and people aren't willing to go the extra mile. So we need the larger industry companies, the governments and the risk capitalists to take more of a chance, dare to invest in these technologies and let them grow and let them develop. And that's the only way that we'll get to more of a fossil-free and sustainable future.
And I believe that, I mean, you are quite early, but still you have started. We have GreenIron, who has been your journey has been a little bit longer, so you have a few customers already.
Yes, we do. We have a test facility up in Kumla that we have been running successfly with a lot of samples and testings of different materials. But we are now starting our first factory, full-sized when it comes to the equipment. And I hope we are up and running in the end of this year. So we are on a scale-up phase, which is extremely important, and it's so much fun to be there.
And can't you just repeat how much carbon emission you will save in just a couple of years from now?
Yes, I will. I mean, if we run one furnace, it will save us, the world, 56,000 tons of CO2. Which is like my footprint if I should take 80,000 flights from Stockholm to New York.
That's kind of goosebumps.
It's like a third.
Yeah, exactly. And if we have a goal to have by 28, 29, 300 furnaces up and running, and that is 17 million tons of CO2. That is absolutely not needed. That is gone. We save 35% of Sweden's total yearly emission every year with 300 furnaces. So that's a lot.
That's amazing. Yeah, let's do some action here. So thank you so much for sharing, and let's make all of this happen, right? And have more on the map to make things change. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we are here with two more startups from the Climate Startup Map. 420. Are you the top two?
Yes, for sure.
Of course. Anna from Celluxtreme, can you start to tell us what are you doing?
Yes, I will do that. So we are working to develop the lightweight material of the future. And lightweight material is something that we use more and more broadly. It's used to build light cars that consume a low amount of fuel or wind energy that is really giving us a lot of energy out when the wind is blowing. So that is an example where lightweight materials have been very, very important for us. And so we have a technology that is based on research from KTH, specifically the Wallenberg Wood Science Center, but also at RISE in Stockholm. And this technology makes it possible for us to actually utilize the great properties of wood, being very strong, very stiff, and also very light. And from wood, cellulose, we can spin very strong filaments. And these filaments can be the base for lightweight materials for constructions of different kinds. So that is what we are working on.
So wide usage area, I see.
Yes.
So where are you on your journey? Any collaboration, partners, customers already?
We have just started our journey. So we are very early and coming from research. So it's a very, very exciting time for us where we are working on verifying the technology for scaling and also talking to a lot of possible partners and customers in the value chains, understanding where can we really contribute with a great value, both when it comes to the product and material performance, but also sustainability that we bring in that is also a very important strength with this solution.
So the Climate Startup Map, why are you there? What do you see the use for you? You mentioned to really start talking.
Yes.
Do you see any other possibilities with the map?
Yeah, we are here because we want to contribute to sustainable materials of the future. I mean, we have worked a lot with transforming energy, the energy sector, transports, and so on. But now we also need to look at the materials and the footprint that we have from materials, and that's where we want to contribute with this new technology.
And I think the map makes it searchable. I mean, you can search on the map. So if you could have any call to action to the ones searching the map, who would that be? Any investors, any specific? The more specific, the better, you should say.
Oh, I think contact us if you are interested in lightweight solutions and really like to understand more where we can contribute, and also like to start a dialogue very early with us. That is something that we really urge for.
And maybe to be brave enough to test it early as well.
Exactly, because you have the great and unique possibility actually when you start to develop new material platforms is that you can also design and adapt for the end properties that you want in your product or material. So it's of course also very makes it complicated, but it gives you also great possibilities.
Exciting. And let's move on to you, John. Econans, tell us more. What are you doing?
Yes, so if we look at CO2 emissions globally, we can see that buildings account for approximately 40% of those. So there's a huge opportunity here to actually reduce the CO2 emissions globally if we can get people to make smart renovations for their homes to make them more energy efficient. So what we have done is to develop a digital platform combining advanced simulations, automated advice, and of course we leverage on a lot of data. It could be public data around properties, climate data, and also, of course, user data. We want to provide a personalized service and help specific people understand for their specific home what does their climate footprint look like, their energy consumption, how much are you paying currently for your electricity. And then in the next step, we actually want to help them understand what can you do specifically to actually reduce your impact. What is the smartest thing to do? Is it to install a solar panel because you need to charge your electric car every day? Or is it that you have all windows that you need to replace?
So really to guide the end customers. But do you go for the end customers or do you collaborate?
So we want to reach as many as possible.
Yeah.
And we can see that this is a great solution to integrate with the bank when it comes to the customer journey around mortgages. And we also see that a lot of people think about these questions when they buy a new property. So we also integrate the solution with real estate agents.
Okay. So with being a part of the map, what do you see in the future? What can it help you with?
Yeah, so we have great traction in Sweden at the moment, and we've already integrated the solution with large banks like SEB and real estate companies like Länsfast. But we want to reach out to other markets in Europe. We want to get more banks on board. And we also want other partners to get on board because we want to help the customers all the way. So we also want partners installing, for example, solar panels and offering new energy systems, etc., to come onto the platform and be part of this ecosystem so that we can actually help customers go all the way from understanding what their current impact is and take them all the way to actually do the renovation and make their home more energy efficient.
Maybe you can find some on the map by yourself.
Yeah,
find the collaboration.
I hope so. Yeah, that would be amazing.
We have to look onto that.
Yes.
So the next step for you, you said, do you need anything more to reach out to those international global markets? Do you see any challenges there?
There are always challenges, and that's what drives me, of course, overcoming those problems. But we've built the platform to be really configurable so that it's easy to implement in the new market. But of course, for each market that we go into, you always need to sort out a few different challenges, for sure.
So for you, Anna, early really exciting, research-based new materials. So we need some large corporates within different fields to reach out for you.
Really.
Yeah.
And I mean, we provide a renewable basis here with the fibers. They are from renewable sources, and they are also made in a water-based process. So that is also very good. It's a good performance of the process, and we also believe very strongly that this material can open up for circularity in this when it comes to this kind of material in a good way, because that is needed. Today's solutions are having that as a big challenge right now. So of course that also needs to be developed, but I think we strongly believe that new solutions needs to be introduced on this market in order to have good, sustainable, lightweight solutions for the future as well.
So any final call to action from you, John? I'm starting to think, so who could you collaborate with? Can you kind of specific mention some that you need?
Well, I think all the banks in Europe are welcome to contact me. I would love to talk to them and show them exactly how we can help the consumers, but also help the bank, because there's a lot of new regulation which has come in this last year, which also forces the banks to actually work with these specific questions, looking at how they can make their mortgage portfolios more green and estimate the CO2 emissions for their buildings, etc.
Good call to action there. So thank you so much. Best of luck with everything.
Thank you so much.
And let's talk more soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So it's time to wrap up this launch of our 420 Swedish climate startups. And I get amazed by the opportunities that there are for future collaboration. We know that there is a lot of needs out there. So how can we match the needs, and how can we actually tell the story behind and get everyone to know more about these startups? And it's not an easy task. So storytelling to share the possibilities, the impact, the effect. I know that you work a lot with that, Isabelle. What do you think? How can we tell the story?
Well, I think it's needed to push these companies forward to like you said, see the possibilities. Because now all we hear are the doomsday and the hardship coming, but not so much the solutions. So I think everyone needs to hear them to get extra energy and to work with it and to see the possibilities and to matchmake and to work with it. I think you said it earlier, like we have all the inventions, now we have to implement them. So just let's do it. And how do we do it? And this is a good start.
Yeah, and I mean, the wide of the startups on this map, it's everything from really deep tech research to platform. So how can we match them and how can we measure? What do you say, Örjan, if you see kind of for the future? How can we use this map?
I also think it's amazing. I'm proud to see how many startups with these innovations that we have here in Sweden. So it makes me happy, and it's really necessary to tackle the climate crisis. So as you said, we have a lot of solutions, but I think these companies are the second generation, the next generation solutions that are just building right now. So it's important to get them so they get traction, like you say. And how do we do that? Well, this is a big start, a good start, to have a focus that these companies can make a big difference compared to other companies that also make a difference, but perhaps not in this area. So I think that's a good start. So we can provide more help, I think, when we have them collected like this. And we have to work with things we talked about earlier today to help them create the demand for these companies. And I think we can help them with showing how much impact they actually can make. I think some of them can do much more than they think about right now. So that's another way of helping them, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, the story behind is always interesting because sometimes they have founded something and then we can see the use in a totally different area or market. And I mean, those are really interesting. And if we in the system can help them with that, then we need to tell the stories. We need to open up our eyes to really measure where do they make the most impact. And how can we do that? Do you have any good solution? How do we get everyone in this map and have with open eyes being innovative of new solution? What do you say, Isabelle?
I think the collaboration again, and to put them, I mean, if we put them all together in one map, I think maybe in between they're going to start. I mean, here in the corridor behind this thing today, I've been hearing people talking and, we should meet and we should do things. So I think the unexpected, transformation and the big ideas is going to come from you over here collaborating with you over here, and then you make some new magic happen in the middle. So I think it's like, seeing the opportunities instead of the problems, and a little bit letting go of all the old systems and try to see, okay, we have this thing, but can we apply it here or there or somewhere else? Because all of us get stuck in a rut. So we tend to go to the same solutions over and over again. So, and then we need someone to help us unstuck us a little bit. And I also think that this map is a great statement from the industry for saying, like, look, these companies are doing something good for the future, instead of like, we have these companies. It's like, this is what we need to do right now.
And I mean, the map will grow, hopefully a lot. And my hope is that it's not only the map, it's really used so we can do a lot of things with it. It's not only the web page. We could see a lot of things happening with the map. So we all need to work with it, right? And tell the stories behind and see all the different opportunities. But how can we measure what effect the startups on the map are doing? I mean, imagine in 2 years if we could see kind of a progression with all the startups, and we can actually, hey, this is what Sweden did with our startup. What do you say? How can we do that?
I mean, it's possible to measure. I think we can. That's something we, as a system, really have to become better at, to measure more. Or when I say measure, it's sometimes you measure something that has happened, but also to estimate what can happen to make that forecast, so to speak. So we can be much better at that, and we need to do that. Otherwise, I think we miss a target. And to complement what you were saying, that how can we help them? I think everybody is helped by understanding the goal even better than we do today. What are the targets? How do we reach them? Then you can set your mind on going there in a better sense, and also how to measure the steps in between. So on. So, but there are tools to evaluate how much impact can we make, and these tools are being improved, need to be improved a lot, and I think we as a system work on this to improve these tools.
It's also, but it's also language that business speaks, right? I mean, measurements, it's climate and all kind of the problems we're facing can be a little bit fluent or abstract. But with measurements and starting to measure something, when you start to measure something, you become aware of other things to measure. So it's like, we start here, and then we can see that, but we also have this problem and this. But then we have something tangible in a way.
Yes.
But I think it's good.
Yeah, it has to be quantifiable.
Yeah.
And usually, I mean, traditionally we're looking at making money more or less, and that's quantifiable, the money. But now we have to look at reducing carbon dioxide emissions and so on. So I was very happy to hear those companies explaining the opportunities to lessen emissions and so on. So there's a more focus, and it's increasing. That's what we have to continue with.
And maybe that's a way of meeting each other as well. If you want to measure something, you are measuring the same thing.
Yes.
Could 1 + 1 become something else?
Yeah,
so
definitely.
really to have small and large meet, or and I'm thinking to really work with the startup, I think the system need to work more with this to help the startups and really early on find a way of measuring what kind of impact do they want to do from day one. And I mean, to have that theory of change, of this is our way of working.
Yeah.
And that could also be a way of integrating in the map. How can we actually discuss these things as well? It's an interesting thought. But for you, Isabelle, to be outside the system, what's need to be done?
Well, it need to be done, but I think by having this map, we start having the conversation. We start to pinpoint what's important. We start to change the norms. It's a beginning, like beginning measurements. we have a starting point. That's really, really good, and I think that's needed, because otherwise we have so much different things. And now we have focus on what we want to achieve and what we need to do.
So, coming from different cultures, organizations, I'm thinking the public sector. They have a demand. We really see the need for some solutions. Örjan, I know that you have worked with the public sector and demand. Can you just take into that?
Think, I'm a strong believer in the demand, to start at the demand. What do we really need, rather than trying to invent things that might be needed. So the public sector is huge, and they can really be a forerunner when it comes to picking up these innovations. So I think for us to work more with the public sector is a way to helping these companies to grow and scale their solutions.
And we really need also maybe the culture that it's okay to fail working with the startups. I mean, it's not that it always works the first time. The culture needs to be done. It's okay to do some small pilots, starting to collaborate, to be brave. I think that's important too.
And to fail a lot and to succeed a lot. We need them both, I guess.
Yeah. So hopefully we could have a lot of different organizations looking into the map, starting new collaboration, and let's round this up. Any final words or call to action from you that hasn't been mentioned?
I think we just keep going like this. I mean, these companies are having a good focus and should take it to the next level, basically.
To scale for them as well,
For them,
I think it's important to hammer in the impact and the effect and the why and the need, like you said, but really this is purposeful, this is why we're doing it, and talk about it a lot too, because then people start to think, okay, what are we doing is not purposeful or have an impact, or so we get the language out and change the norm.
So thank you so much for joining this final wrap it up of our launch of the climate map. Let's hope that it's growing. And also I would like to send a big thanks to Jenny, who couldn't be here today, Linda and Frida, who has done a lot of work behind the scenes to actually scan and do the criteria for all of these startups, and we'll continue the work. And also we met Karin earlier on from Sting, who was one of the initiative taker for this map. So let's hope it's just continuing the discussion, the stories behind, and take some action. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.